Hey, what's up? It's Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo right now. On the podcast today, LaVar Ball. Might he become the most important man in basketball? Also, when do you know when you've hit or missed on a quarterback with Louis Riddick? Plus, what's the downside of signing Colin Kaepernick?
The Ryen Russillo Show podcast.
Happy Monday to you. It is the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. But it's not Ryen Russillo, who somewhere, as we speak, right now, is gallivanting around, I think it's the eastern coast of Italy, Michelle?
Southern coast.
Wow, really?
Amalfi Coast.
What does that mean, the southern coast? That's like going around the boot heel, up and down the sole of the boot. Hopefully Ryan is updating his Twitter, putting a travelogue out. I am Will Kane, sitting in for Ryan all week long. Solo. Me. You. Talking to each other. Filling in for Ryan so that he can enjoy that Italian sun, that Italian ocean. Guests today on the Ryen Russillo Show will appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're going to have Louis Riddick. We might have Keyshawn Johnson. And you can get in touch with me through the entire show at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. My handle is at Will Kane, WILLCAIN. Now, you guys have seen me probably on First Take from time to time. You might have seen me sitting next to Ryan right over there from time to time. But today, with just me and you together, I want to talk to you about LaVar Ball. Now, everybody's talking about LaVar Ball. LaVar Ball, LaVar Ball, LaVar Ball. And at some point it becomes, why are you guys giving him so much oxygen? Why are you giving LaVar Ball so much attention? You're part of the problem. You keep talking about him, ESPN, sports radio, sports talk, television, First Take. You keep talking about LaVar Ball, and you are becoming the LaVar Ball problem. But I disagree. I think at this point we have to talk about LaVar Ball. I think we have to talk about him because I don't see any reason. I don't see any evidence why LaVar Ball is not becoming the most powerful man in basketball. I want to make this Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. LaVar Ball, very likely, within a matter of years, is going to be the most powerful man in basketball. Here's why I say that. As the LeBron James era of most important man in basketball comes to a close, there'll be a vacuum left behind. That vacuum will be filled by someone. Who is the guy that dictates where our attention goes? Who is the guy that dictates where free agents go? Who is the guy that pulls all the strings behind the scenes in basketball? And right now, I don't see any reason why that's not LaVar Ball. Now, I'm not celebrating that fact. I'm not telling you that's a great thing. I'm not telling you that that the NBA and basketball in general is headed down an amazing path because of that. I'm telling you that I can read the tea leaves. I mean, this is what. How is it not shaping up this way? He is the man for our time. LaVar Ball is the man for our time. He embodies everything we're asking from someone. This is what we want. We want somebody to act like LaVar Ball. As you know, last Friday he had just a run of greatest hits when it comes to LaMelo's AAU basketball tournament. In a matter of days, let's see, LaVar pulled his team off the court. Said, no, we're done here. Let's go, boys. Walk out. We're done. Took them outside, by the way. Gathered them outside the glass doors of the auditorium. All the 15-year-olds, 14, 15, 6-year-olds sat down in front of LaVar. He stands up, towering over them with his white slides on, white shirt, white shorts. And now he's ready to tell them, boys, this is why. This is why we pulled off the court. This is why we can no longer play. Listen to this.
Y'all playing your hearts out here and they calling all that bull that gets about him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all be playing hard as hell. And all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this.
All they do is cheating out there. Could you tell that through the language? It was really the last 5 seconds is what mattered. All they're doing is cheating out there. I'm pulling you off the court because the grown-ups out there hired to be the arbiters of the game, the referees, the ones in black and white stripes, because they're cheating. You're doing everything you can, but no, it's stacked against you.
Y'all playing your hearts out here and they calling all that bull that gets about him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all be playing hard as hell. and all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this shit.
Life lessons. All they're doing is cheating out there. Now, let me tell you something. That worked so well. That later in the week, on Friday, he threatened to pull his team again. You can see the video. He's stomping around on the court, waves his arm to his players. Come on, follow me. We're walking off again. Because he didn't like the calls from a female referee. At that point, everybody goes, whoa. Okay, LaVar. Okay. Please don't go. Please don't take your team off the court. So, the AAU officials, with the influence of Adidas, by the way, Adidas shoes, looking pretty good these days, right? Am I wrong on that, Rudy? Adidas is on the up. I mean, they're going up on their shoes, right?
I'm not a huge fan, not going to lie.
Really?
Yeah.
They've got to be taking some market share from Nike because I look around, I see a lot of people in those Ultra Boost Adidas. And I think they look pretty good. I don't know if this is going to help. Adidas intervening in an AAU tournament to say, no, please, LaVar, don't go. We'll get rid of her. We'll get rid of the ref that you don't like. It worked for a little while, by the way, because she was pulled from the game. He did get a second technical in the second half. He was ejected. And at that point, by the way, he wouldn't leave, right? You know what happened? At that point, he wouldn't leave the court. This is the behavior, by the way, of I have a 6-year-old. This is the behavior of a 6-year-old. I'm going to quit, take my ball, and go home. Or I will not leave, even when you kick me out. This is the man leading the 14 and 15-year-old youth of basketball.
Y'all playing your hearts out there, and they calling all that that thinks about him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all be playing hard as hell, and all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't gonna have this.
Now, listen, but I started out telling you, despite all this, I do think he's the future of the NBA. I do think he's the future most powerful man in basketball. And I don't see any reason, I don't see any evidence to believe otherwise. I would love you to call in and tell me why I'm wrong on this. Why? Give me something, please. Give me a reason. Give me evidence. Give me some reason to believe that LaVar Ball is not going to be running the entire basketball world in a matter of years. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. But hear me out. This is what we ask of people. I said, LaVar Ball is the man of our time. He embodies what we ask of somebody. First of all, he's full of braggadocio. He's full of arrogance. He's full of what appears to be confidence. He's full of what he would have you believe to be competence, and that he's raised these amazing superstar basketball players. But the truth of the matter is, underneath it all, it's all fake. Every bit of it is fake. Every bit of the cartoon caricature of a man that LaVar Ball projects to you is fake. But we've lost our way, I think, of figuring out between what's fake and what's real. I remember when I was in 8th grade. Is this every 8th grader, by the way, or is this only 8th graders in like the 1980s? It's like everything you analyzed in life was filtered through the prism of fake or real. She's fake. He's fake. Oh, I like him. He's real. He's real. Everybody still does that, right? Like fake and real. That's like the top line filter through which you pour somebody. Am I right on that? Still, Rudy?
I would say so. It's
like he's fake. He's real. But we've lost that, man. We have no idea. We have no ability to tell what's fake and real. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because we watch 15-second clips on Instagram. Maybe because our attention span is terribly ruined. But as I look around, if you fake it, you make it. Just like the saying goes. I mean, so why would LaVar fail? He's freaking succeeding every step of the way. He steps in a pothole and criticizes a woman for being out of shape, a woman referee for being incompetent, out of shape, and not in her lane, and refereeing a high school AAU basketball game. And what does it do? It actually springboards him forward.
Look, if you look at Colin's numbers,
it's not no second thoughts. You guys are trying to make it like a gender thing. It's not that. All I'm saying was, what's her name? Okay, exactly, you don't know her name. The only reason you know her is she gave me and my son a check. That's the only way you know her. And that's what it is when you ref somebody who's got a high celebrity. Ain't nobody else doing it. Everybody acting. The guy who ref today, videotape him, then you're going to see he act exactly like me. You see what I'm saying? But every coach acts like that because the intensity of the game is so high. And I'm just saying, don't have no vendettas in here. You can say what you want, but it's hearsay. What I say, what she say, it's no big deal. It's over with, and you guys can keep bringing it back to try to find out to say, you know what, girls should be reffing as. I don't care if all girls ref. If they good refs, let's go ahead and do it. But it's not about ticking up and making a scene. They could have got a lot of ticks, but these guys right here were a little more involved. They went both ways with it.
I'm telling you, LaVar Ball is fake. He's not tough. He's not a straight shooter. He's not a man. He's a cartoon caricature of all the things he thinks you want to see in a strong man. But underneath it all, he's a victim. He tells kids that they've been cheated. He threatens to quit when things don't go his way. He stomps around on a court and won't leave when they don't go his way. He gets people fired, and he's enabled by adults like Adidas all the way through. There are those who say we should stop talking about it, but we can't because you have to call fake out when it's fake or it will continue to win. Look across. Just take a quick glimpse across, okay? Tell me you can't find other examples of this. Fake caricatures of toughness and what it means to be a man succeeding all the way to the top. I'd love for you to tell me I'm wrong. I would love it.
The Ryen Russillo Show. Russillo.
I want to be clear. I don't want to be right on this. This isn't what I'm rooting for, that LaVar Ball becomes the most powerful man in basketball. I just think it's what's going to happen. It's like placing bets. You don't bet on the team you want to win. You bet on the team you think is going to win. It's Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo this week. The Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you, so you get the best deal, even if it's not with us. Save you time and money. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today. Look, 888-729-3776. Tell me why I'm wrong. Don't tell me why you want me to be wrong. Don't tell me why I should be wrong. Tell me why I am wrong. I am not so much disappointed. Yeah. I'm disappointed in LaVar Ball and the way he acts. I'm disappointed that here's this complete farce of a tough guy, a complete cartoon image of what he thinks you want to be a man. Yeah, I'm not happy with this guy's behavior, the way he acts towards a female referee, the way he acts towards anything, to be honest. But I'm really actually more upset with us. That this is what we seem to be rewarding over and over. That's why I think that he's going to be the most powerful man in basketball, because history suggests we're suckers for this stuff. David in Brooklyn, tell me why I'm wrong.
Hey, Will. I think LaVar Ball is absolutely the worst thing for basketball right now. I think that what we have right now is a reality TV kind of generation, and everyone loves watching a train wreck. So, I don't dispute that he's probably a really good dad. I bet behind closed doors with no video cameras around, he's a good dad. But I think that he sets a horrible example for any other parent coming up with kids that are younger than his, that are like, oh, you know what? This is the model that my kid's going to need to look up to and to be the driving force for him to be a professional basketball in 2035.
I totally agree, David. This is the lesson we're teaching kids right here. Listen.
It's wow, nobody ever does it. Oh, just sit there and take the punishment. No, I ain't sitting there and taking nothing because I don't have to. And that's what I'm telling my kids. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to do. I don't care what they say. There you go.
Right there. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. These are life lessons by LaVar Ball. God, I'm becoming like a pessimist with life, or a cynic. I don't even know. I don't like it. I want to believe that we won't reward this. I want to believe that parents out there don't agree with it. I want to believe that sports teams and companies and executives go, nah. We don't want to be associated with that. We can't be associated with that. But look at Adidas. You don't even have to relegate it to sports. Go to a playground. I'm serious. Go to a playground. You'll see this exact thing play out. Go to Washington, D.C. Tell me where this isn't working. Tell me we're faking it until you make it. Faking bravado, faking competency, faking confidence isn't working. Matt, New York, tell me why I'm wrong.
All right, so I'm calling in. I highly disagree with the fact that you say that you guys going to take over sports or take over basketball for that matter. I mean, look, we have all-time great coaches. We've seen the Pat Rileys, the Krzyzewskis, the Popovich, coaches at all levels who don't pull these stunts, who get calls against their team and don't say, "Oh, you know what? I want this ref taken out." We're not talking about all-time great. We're talking a guy who's not even a has-been. We're talking about a nobody who's riding on the coattails of his son, of which we know only one of them is good. And mind you, good, not great. All it takes is for one of these coaches to step up and say, "You know what? We don't pull these stunts. So this guy should
Adidas, Matt. Like Adidas did, Matt.
Listen, Adidas, Nike, anyone. We need a big time. We need a coach who's a somebody who says this.
Yeah, but Matt, you're talking to me about need. This is my point. Stay on the line, Matt. You're talking about need. You're talking to me about these guys that we have in basketball, be it Greg Popovich or whoever, Rick Carlisle. Strong figures that lead teams to success, that guide men through careers, that create professional basketball players out of guys. Yeah, we have them. And you're talking about what they need to do. What I'm telling you is what is happening, man. I'm telling you what's being rewarded. I'm telling you that players decide where they want to go, who they want to play with, what deals they make, what teams they sign with, what shoe deals they decide to go with. And LaVar Ball is positioning himself because we reward this nonsense. He's positioning himself to be the most powerful man in basketball. You can tell me about need and should, but I'm telling you about am.
Right, but what I'm saying is he's only getting this because we're feeding into it. The listeners, the media, ESPN, the big name companies. If somebody who's a somebody steps in and says this is unacceptable, we cannot reward this type of behavior. If a Michael Jordan steps in, or a Popovich or a Krzyzewski says we cannot reward this behavior, it's done. But the fact that no one steps up, no one stands up for it, it's not going to happen.
You know what, Matt? I appreciate the call. You know what you are? You're an optimist, man. You're an idealist. And I have been at that at various times in my life and my career. I hope you're right. But right now, victimhood is seen as strength. Faking it until you make it is the creed. Confidence and arrogance are indistinguishable. And if all that's true, LaVar Ball will succeed one failure after another. Every misstep, every failure, every embarrassment will push him to higher success. Really quickly, this is LaVar Ball on Mornings with Keyshawn, George, and LZ on ESPN 710 LA. This is the victimhood that will eventually propel him to the top.
Of course I'm being unfairly targeted, but it's okay. Why wouldn't I be? They say I got a big mouth anyway. They say we bad as heck. Of course you want to try to quiet me up. That's the way I've been coaching all the time.
Process.
It's just entertainment. Instead of going to the movies, people are coming to the AAU game to watch a game.
That kind of thought process. I wish it didn't work. All right, the phone lines are lit up. You guys want to talk about this? We got a lot of things to get to today. We got Kaepernick. We got how do you know when a quarterback's done? How do you know? Blake Bortles, Jared Goff. When do you know the experiment is a failure? Got a lot of things to get to today. Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo, who's off in Italy. We need to get to that as well. Where is Ryan? Get to all that today. Will Kane in for Ryen Russillo on ESPN Radio. It's the Ryen Russillo Show, brought to you by Upside. Now save big on travel and get big gift cards every trip you buy. You'll love Upside.com, Upside.com. It's Will Kane, in for Ryen Russillo. You can hit me up on Twitter, at Will Kane, WILLCAIN. You can also give us a call, 888-729-3776. Phone lines are lit up. Everyone wants to convince me. I want to be convinced. Why LaVar Ball is not going to be the most powerful man in basketball. It's really more of an indictment of us than it is LaVar Ball. It's really more of an indictment of where we train our eyeballs. You know, we heard it in the last segment of College. So what, you know, you're feeding it by continuing to talk about it. At this point, I disagree. There's a really good column up by Jay Billis right now on ESPN.com talking about how he's not going to talk about LaVar Ball anymore. He used to think he thought it was funny, and now it's not funny. But I see, here's the thing. I'm with all of you. I'm with Jay. I'm with you. It's not good. It's not healthy. But I think you have to talk about it. Like that's how it was in my family. If you had something bad going on, well, we got to talk. Let's talk. Start talking. Talk it till it doesn't. I don't know. We didn't take our problems back to the bedroom and dwell on them, stew on them. One more thing on this LaVar Ball. So sometimes there's this YouTube channel that I really, really like. It's called Charisma on Command. This guy, I don't even know his real name, but he breaks down people and speakers and why it is they resonate, what it is about Conor McGregor and his confidence that's infectious, that makes you have to watch. Why Brad Pitt has, you know, magnetism. Everyone, from Donald Trump to famous actors, what the qualities they bring to their public presentation that makes it so they're so magnetic. But talks about Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali seemed to know the difference between confidence and arrogance, where Muhammad Ali's confidence in his abilities and who he was inside the ring was real. But the arrogance was a put on. All of the braggadocio, all the I make medicine sick, you know, all that stuff that Ali did. It was like he was in on the joke. Jay Billis writes that in his column, by the way. He used to think LaVar Ball was in on the joke. Ali was in on the joke, on the arrogance. I don't think LaVar Ball is in on the joke. I think LaVar Ball takes himself very, very seriously. All right. You can give us a call, 888-729-3776. But I want to move to Colin Kaepernick for a little bit because that's been the other big story of the day. Will the Baltimore Ravens sign Colin Kaepernick? I mean, right now, I believe somewhere Steve Bisciotti is probably knelt in prayer, thinking about this, ruminating, contemplation, solemn reverence. We know that Bisciotti asked for your prayers on their decision on whether or not to sign Colin Kaepernick. That's up to you if you want to do that. You can help them out. But in the meantime, outside of prayers, at least there was some honesty on the risk-reward analysis on whether or not a team should sign Colin Kaepernick. It's not difficult. This is not a hard math calculation. This is simple risk-reward. Does Colin Kaepernick's talent on the football field outweigh the potential business downsides of any football team that might want to sign him? Easy, simple. Hold your hands up, side by side, right? Scales. How they used to weigh things, right? Football talent on one side, cost to the bottom line for a football business on the other. Which one goes down heavier? On the football side, Colin Kaepernick is a divisive quarterback. There are good things about him. He has a high passer rating. His touchdown to interception ratio, I believe, is like one of the highest, best touchdown to interception ratios over the past, 4 years. With any quarterback with over 1,500 passes, Colin Kaepernick ranks something, I don't know, I think he's top 5. I have it right here. I believe Colin Kaepernick on touchdown to interception ratio is mentioned with names like Rodgers, Brady, Wilson, Derek Carr, and then Colin Kaepernick. That's quarterbacks with at least 1,500 attempts throughout their careers. It's 5th best touchdown to interception ratio. On the other hand, on the football field, Colin Kaepernick is like, this is from Pro Football Focus, by the way, really good. Scott Barrett is a guy that breaks things down really well. The title of the article is Just How Good or Not is Colin Kaepernick. On the other side of the equation, only David Carr, Derek's brother, David, who, by the way, I thought had a lot more in his bag and was put into very, very bad circumstances. Only David Carr has a worse sack percentage. So Colin Kaepernick drops back to pass. He's second on the list of guys who've had 1,500 pass attempts on getting sacked. And a sack, at least according to Scott Barrett here, is just so detrimental to a team. Sets you back. Statistically, it hurts your yards per attempt. Really, really puts a team behind the 8 ball when you get sacked. So there are those that think Colin Kaepernick is a very talented, good quarterback that could help a team out. And others like, I don't know, not that good. So the point is he's divisive on the football field. Not to mention how divisive he is off the football field. We don't have to pass judgment on Colin Kaepernick's cause or protest or method of protest to simply know this little fact. He's divisive. And if you sign him, you are going to hurt to some extent with your bottom line. This was this morning on Mike and Mike. Louis Riddick had this to say, which I found very, very interesting about the pushback about Colin Kaepernick joining any team.
For them to not want to talk about it, considering the fact that the types of players that have been allowed to play in the National Football League that have some of the track records that they do, they must. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say there must be some serious, serious pushback that they're receiving.
Yeah.
From this. It must be serious for them to not really, to almost like say, hey, look, you know what? Yeah, we've gotten some letters, or man, you know what? Yeah, he's a guy who's under consideration. Yeah, and want to just change the subject quick.
Yeah, right.
There must be some serious pushback from some serious people that are making them go, whoa, this is different. Otherwise, we all know the NFL is about winning, and we know that Colin's better than other players out there, so why isn't he getting looks?
Yeah.
That was Louis Riddick on Mike and Mike. He's going to be on the Russillo Show with me a little later today. Serious pushback. Serious. So you got to weigh that. I appreciate, by the way, the honesty from Steve Bisciotti. I appreciate the honesty from John Mara, who says he's never had this kind of fan pushback on anything. The letters he's getting, the notes he's getting about people not wanting Colin Kaepernick on their team. That by the way, I'm not passing value judgment on that. I'm not passing judgment on the fan, nor the team, nor Colin on any of this equation. It just is. At some point, it just is. And I don't know if that means they're going to buy fewer caps, fewer tickets, watch fewer games, or simply it's going to be some kind of effect on your brand. I don't know how that manifests. And by the way, I'm going to ask Riddick, I would like to know where that pressure would come from. Is it just fans? Is it local institutions like the police departments? Where would that pressure be coming from? But that's it. Risk reward with Colin Kaepernick. That weighed against the talent you get on the field.
The Ryen Russillo Show. Russillo.
When do you know that you don't have a good thing going? When do you know that you've made a very, very serious mistake? I mean, you probably have to ask yourself that question a few times in your personal life. When do NFL teams ask and answer that question for themselves? This is Will Kane sitting in for Ryen Russillo. It's the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. So, Blake Bortles is entering his 4th year in the NFL. This weekend, Blake Bortles threw 5 interceptions during a practice. This NFL training camp report, by the way, is brought to you by DraftKings. Try Daily Fantasy for free at DraftKings. Use code GRIT now at DraftKings.com. 5 interceptions in one practice. Apparently 2 were in 7-on-7 and 3 were in 11-on-11. Going into his 4th year. Now, Bortles hasn't been... It's funny, if you look at Bortles' numbers, they're not as bad as his play would suggest. Like, you see that elongated throwing motion where he drops it down to about his hip and then slings the ball out there about, it feels like 2 seconds too late to his receiver. And you're like, how's this experiment still going on? His passer rating through his first 3 years, 69, 88, 78. He throws a ton of picks. 17, 18, 16. He throws picks left and right. So throwing 5 in practice is kind of par for the course. And if you're the Jaguars and you're saying, it's not par for the course, this is worse, you got to hit the red alert button. But when do you know that this thing's not working? Like, do the Los Angeles Rams already know that the Jared Goff experiment is a complete and utter failure? Or do they not? Or has he not been given enough time? Pair that up with information this weekend as well, that Mitch Trubisky, he fumbled 3 snaps. I don't know if they were in a row, but he fumbled 3 snaps in pretty quick succession at Chicago Bears training camp. It's Trubisky's first. He's on a new offense. He's probably nervous. He's brand new. I don't take that as any indication of what Trubisky's going to be like. So clearly when it comes to Trubisky, it's entirely too early. And with Bortles, it's entirely obvious for them. It should be obvious for the Jaguars what they have with Blake Bortles, and if it's anything to hang their futures on. Jared Goff is somewhere in the middle. Not too soon, not too late. 1 year in. 1 year in, one offseason program, and 2 days of training camp. They've got to know about Jared Goff at this point. They've got to know if they've got, how about this? If not the guy who is the guy, a guy who can be the guy. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal, I believe it was, let's just call it a year ago, heading in, no, it was last fall. It was just a couple months into the Jared Goff experiment. This was after Jared Goff had been unable to win the starting job as a rookie. And the premise was that NFL teams know much sooner than they're willing to admit to us or really even to themselves what they have. NFL teams know pretty quickly if they made a mistake or if they got the guy. Louis Riddick, ESPN front office insider, said this morning that quarterback play is about two things, essentially. Number one, it's about decision-making. And number two, it's about accuracy. Now, while both of those things can improve, you can probably tell pretty quickly if decision-making or accuracy are evident at all, something that can be improved upon. In other words, you can probably tell pretty quickly if it's completely and utterly missing from a guy. That's what I bet you know. And if you know, admit it to yourself. Admit it to your team. Maybe you don't have to admit it to the media because you never do. But you admit it and saddle back up quickly. Scrap and go. If you know in October or November that Jared Goff is not your guy, scrap it, go, draft another one, top of the first round next year. I asked you guys, here's the question. Do you think we give up on things too early or we hang on too long? I don't even know what I'm asking you about. Football quarterbacks, football coaches, in society. Meaning, I don't know if there's one answer for all that. Do you think we give up, Cerruti, too early or hang on too long?
See, this might be a cop-out answer, but I actually disagree with you because I think the Blake Bortles situation is the hardest one to figure out. You say, we know what Blake Bortles is, and you think he's not a starting quarterback. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's right.
2 years ago, he had 35 touchdowns and 18 picks. He looked awesome. They were everyone's favorite team last year, and he has another, pretty average year the year after. I think you have no idea what he is, and you kind of fall in love with the hope of what he could be. But he may end up being right. He may not be good. But there's still that hope that he could be something. I think if Goff has another, 6 games this year, he's done. That's it. Bortles, to me, is the most impossible one to figure out.
69, 88, 78. That's his passer rating over his first 3 years. 17, 18, 16. That's his interceptions over his first 3 years. 3 years. 3 years of evidence. Bill Parcells used to say, at the end of 3 years, I know what you are. Is what Blake Bortles has told you what he is that good enough for the Jacksonville Jaguars to win with?
I don't think he's had a ton of help there.
What's that?
I don't think he's had a ton of help there. So, is he good enough to win by himself? Probably not. But there aren't that many guys that are good enough to win by themselves.
Can you win a Super Bowl with him?
The jury's still out.
I don't know that it is. Look, we're going to have Louis Riddick join us in studio here in about an hour at 3:30. I'm going to ask him exactly that. Do you know on Blake Bortles? 3 years in, do you know on Blake Bortles? Because here's the thing, Cerruti, I think with a lot of these guys, for example, the implication is with Goff, the Rams probably already know. Now, they're giving him a shot still, so they haven't given up on him. He's still the presumptive starter, Michelle. So that could be they're not admitting it to themselves, and it takes a while to admit it.
I think also you can look at Goff and you can rationalize it, right? You can say, well, his head coach was fired. They had to move to L.A. Their team wasn't very good. I think there's a lot of factors there in saying that he's not this terrible quarterback, and let's give him another chance.
Look, I have no doubt that success is circumstantial, at least to some great extent. The offensive coordinator you're with, the head coach you're with, stability, offensive game plan that you learn, system that you learn. All of these things are highly, highly predictable to your success. Dak Prescott was put in the perfect situation to be, well, great. And I would suggest he's going to continue to be. Now, you put him on the Jags, you put him on the Browns, you put him on the Rams. I'm sure it doesn't look anything like this. But decision-making and accuracy, you'd probably still have a decent idea about those two things. This is coming out of Denver as well. Denver Broncos head coach Vance Joseph is saying basically, their guys, not looking good. He came out after this weekend and said, not looking good. Neither one of them. Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, not good. So, I don't know. That's the question. And you as a fan, you can answer that as well. When do you want your team to give up on it? I mean, do you think we move on entirely too quickly from these guys? I can't think of a quarterback that a team gave up on too quickly.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Welcome back to the Ryen Russillo Show on ESPN Radio. Will Kane filling in for Ryen Russillo today. Louis Riddick now joins us in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Thanks for jumping in, Louis.
No problem, man. Always enjoy this show.
I've been talking about you all day long, so I'm glad to have the real guy here in my presence. So
Sweet.
Here's the debate, part of the debate we've been having today. When do you know about a quarterback? The Los Angeles Rams are a year into the Jared Goff experiment.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are 4 years in to the Blake Bortles experiment. When do you know you either have something or you have nothing?
Well, I think you can tell early on when you have something. Like right off the bat, you can tell if a guy has great processing power, meaning mental processing power, great physical tools, resiliency, and you just need to continue to nurture that. I think when do you know that you don't have something? That can be a little bit trickier because that a lot of times is dependent upon the environment, the situation that he comes into, the relationship with the coaching staff, all those types of things. Now, it sounds like I'm maybe setting myself up to defend Jared Goff a little bit, and I am. I'm a fan of this guy, and I'm not a fan of the staff that just left out there. I don't think they could develop me at quarterback, and I can't throw a lick as far as these guys are concerned at the pro level. And I think this year you're going to find out whether or not Jared Goff really starts to show some things that maybe he doesn't blow the roof off this year, but he starts to show some of the basic fundamentals of the position and some consistency that he didn't show last year. Some of the things he showed at Cal because of the fact that this is why they hired Sean McVay. This is why they got some of the weapons that they've got now on the perimeter at tight end to really help him and help him shine. This is why they signed Andrew Whitworth. There's a bunch of things I think that are lining up to maybe help him. So let's just see what happens here.
So you don't think they know yet?
No, I don't.
And so, but do you think we can know early into the season whether or not there's something that Jared Goff has?
On the upside or on the down? Like, do you think
if you want to build your franchise around this guy, or if it's time to move on?
Yeah. I think you will. You should see signs, and you should see some increasing consistency. It's really hard, Will, at this position because you see guys all the time who are kind of late bloomers. This position takes a little bit more time to nurture. Typically in scouting, our rule of thumb was always this. By the third year, you kind of definitely move out of the developmental phase into what you were going to be phase. So from a grading scale perspective, we always gave guys the benefit of the doubt those first 3 years. And a lot of times there was a specific designation for that. After that, remember, we used to always tell our scouts, do not put him in the developmental phase anymore. By year 4, he's either a backup, a starter that you need to replace, or a guy we don't want. So usually it's year 4 for most players. Quarterbacks, it can be a little tricky.
Blake Bortles is entering year 4. Is he a starter, backup, or a guy we don't want?
Well, yeah, he's a starter. He's just not a starter I would want on my team to be starting. I think he has kind of shown what his DNA is in the NFL as far as the two key components that separate good quarterbacks from mediocre: decision-making and accuracy. He struggles with it, and he struggles with it in particular when he's put under duress. So when you hear, like in practice, him throwing 5 interceptions at this point in his career, it's a little bit different than if a young guy did it. Blake has done this in real life situations and in practice now. He's just confirming to me what he is. I think the Jaguars, you may see someone else be starting for this football team by the end of the year when they try to make sure that they don't have to pay him that fifth-year option because they don't want him to get hurt or take any chances, and they put him on the bench this year and cut ties with him next year. Hot take, maybe. We'll see.
By the end of the year, Blake Bortles could be benched.
Yeah.
What the rumors, and also it's not just the rumors, but the reports coming out of Denver are that Vance Joseph has said he does not like what he's seeing out of the two quarterbacks, Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. Do you think the Broncos know about those two guys yet?
No, and you know what? I kind of jumped all over Vance earlier today on SportsCenter when I heard that taken out of context. I listened to his whole argument when he said this, and he said he was not necessarily down on him. He was down on him that day, but that everything that they have done has not been bad. I think that's still a situation that needs to play itself out. I think to make that kind of definitive statement at this point would be seriously jumping the gun. I think the Broncos are going to be fine at quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be Paxton Lynch. I think it's going to be Trevor Siemian, and Paxton Lynch is going to wind up being one of those guys where you go, oops, that's just my personal feeling based off of scouting him in college, watching him last year where he starts off like gangbusters against Tampa Bay, where you watch him and you go, this guy's really got some things. Then at the end of the year against the Jaguars, he looked like a guy who maybe you would want on your practice squad. There's just something about him I'm not quite liking. I like Trevor Siemian's makeup. Either way, this team is not going to really be driven by the quarterback. It's going to be driven how it was driven when Peyton was there. Defense, run the football.
Can the Broncos win a Super Bowl with Trevor Siemian at quarterback?
Yeah, I believe they can. But it just makes it tougher because that means the other two phases of your team have to be on point and there can't be any flaws. And that can be done. The NFL's proven you can do it that way.
I heard you this morning on Mike and Mike, and you just said it again right here, that the main two components of a good quarterback is decision-making and accuracy. You also said that you know if you have something pretty early on, at least mentally, the decision-making process. Mm-hmm. When you say early on, I would assume that means once he's in the building, once he's on the whiteboard, once he's in practice. Here's my question. Why can't teams figure those questions out before they draft a guy? What is it before the draft that keeps you from knowing if he's got the mental makeup?
You know what? Because there's the whiteboard, Will, and then there's the actual functional application of what you put him on the grease board with. And some people can interview tremendously, talk you to death in this kind of nice, controlled environment, and then strap them into the cockpit, as I like to call it, put the helmet on, and then make them actually start executing in real time, and they go haywire. Things start short-circuiting, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's not what you showed on the board. I've seen guys who are like that all the time, who can answer questions in the meeting room, like from a defensive back perspective, right, where you draw up an offensive formation, and the coach says, well, if this guy moves here or they come out and they deploy the personnel this way, what's the check here? Well, coach, I would go here, and this would be the check. We check from cover 2 to cover 3 and all. Great. And you sit there and you walk out of there and you go, okay, that guy got it. That guy has it. He's pretty smart. You get out there to the practice field, and maybe a couple plays in, you start getting tired. Fatigue starts to take over. You're not thinking straight, and people have meltdowns. That's why I think you just don't know how guys are going to handle it. And then on top of it, you're taking a huge jump up. And some people, some people can handle pressure and thrive in it. Some people, it just breaks. And that's how you never know how they're going to react.
Okay, so last question for you, Lewis. I'm not going to ask you about anything about what you want to do, if you ever want to go back to the NFL or anything. But I do want to ask you this. If you were, what kind of organization, like what are the characteristics of an organization that you would say that's a place that someone can succeed at? What would you be looking at and say that's a good organization?
I think without a doubt it starts with ownership, stability of ownership, stability of the message that ownership sends out. And you really don't, and then once you talk to those people and you get a feel for how they have a plan as to what they want their organization to look like from the top down, communicate it effectively, are willing to give you, quote unquote, time to enact your vision and give you the resources to go out and get them, the time to nurture them, truly want to be patient in the context of, look, we understand this is a win-now league and that owners reserve the right to knock you out of there in 1 year, but that's what I look for. That's why that's where talking some of the greatest people who have had the most amount of success in this league tell me all the time. Ownership is the key.
I won't ask you names. What percentage of the league would check those boxes?
Oof. That's tough. Let's just say, from what I know, let me answer it this way. You know the teams that you always see in the Final Four and the Final Eight of the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones. And it's always the same suspects, right?
Right.
It's always the same ones that you know. Right now, there's a lot of euphoria. Everybody's a champion right now. Everybody's happy. My draft class was this. The free agency class was that. We got a new state. You know who's going to be there in the end. And they're the ones who have those characteristics that ideally I would want to work for.
All right. That's ESPN front office insider Louis Riddick. Appreciate it, Louis.
You got it. Anytime.
The Ryen Russillo Show.
So it's the Real Housewives of the NBA. That's the newest, hottest story in entertainment. What's going on in the NBA? Who's mad at who doesn't like who made a dance video or a diss track against another NBA star. I love it, by the way. And I love it. Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James are the latest to have an episode featuring their feud? Is it a feud between Steph and LeBron at this point? It definitely seems to have broken up into teams. There's been reporting over the past year about how much so many of the NBA superstars, be it LeBron James, be it Russell Westbrook, don't really love Steph Curry. Chris Paul's been mentioned in some of those. Don't really love Steph Curry. Consider him different in personality, character, upbringing, in game than any of those guys. So he's kind of an outsider. At the same time, LeBron James has, what did you call it, Michelle? What kind of persona is LeBron James putting out on social media?
It's kind of a teenage girl, if you will. Lots of emojis, lots of emo videos that he posts.
Emo videos?
Yeah, emotional, emo.
One of which was his workout video where he's staring straight to camera and he's flexing. This is during a workout, right? He's working out, doing this video. And this was inspiration for comedy at Harrison Barnes' wedding this past weekend, which was attended by Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving as well. And there's a video of Steph Curry making fun of LeBron's workout video. He's doing all the same moves. He's doing the dance moves and the face, making the grimace face and coming at LeBron. And then there in the crowd, laughing along, I don't know if he was clapping or whatever it was, but he was leaning in, this is where like the Real Housewives music goes, something dramatic, big hard cut edit, somebody's face in a serious face, Kyrie Irving, laughing along with Steph Curry's joke. Dun, 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 dun. The drama gets more real. Which you don't buy, Cerruti.
What was he supposed to do in that situation? Is Kyrie supposed to put a mean mug face on and want to fight Steph? I don't know. What is he supposed to do? It was probably funny. They probably had a few drinks. It was a wedding. Everyone's having a good time. The timing of it is the optics of that aren't great. But I don't know. I think we're reading way too much into this.
Well, it doesn't matter what we read into it. It's not about us. It doesn't matter if we think Kyrie was making fun of LeBron. It doesn't matter if we think Steph was malevolent or just having fun with LeBron. Only thing that matters is what LeBron thinks. So you're LeBron James. You're not Steven Cerruti. You're not Michelle Smallman. You're not with your own personal sensitivities and thick skin or views of yourself in the world. And you see that. You see that video. You're LeBron. How do you think you would respond?
Well, LeBron has some notoriously thin skin, but at the end of the day, I want to play with Kyrie Irving because he makes me better. He makes my team better. He makes it easier for me to win a championship. So unless you're trading me some other incredible superstar and this whole video of him making fun of you changes that, I still want Kyrie on my team.
Yeah, but how much more does he hate Steph now?
Definitely hates Steph. And you know what? If you're Kyrie, you can just blame it on Steph. Hey.
What do you mean? How do you blame it on Steph? I was just laughing along. I
was like, he wasn't that funny, but I just did the awkward laugh because I didn't know what else to do. You could totally play that off.
You 100% know LeBron is Zapruder filming that video. He's got his thumb. He's scrolling that video to see exactly what Kyrie's face was. What was Kyrie doing? Is he, as you're saying, Cerruti just playing along? Or is he right there in it? Yeah, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, Steph. Meanwhile, reports out of Cleveland are that the Phoenix Suns, the deal that can get done for Kyrie is with the Phoenix Suns. The team with the assets needed to get Kyrie out of Cleveland is the Phoenix Suns. And that would be this. That would be Eric Bledsoe plus just drafted rookie Josh Jackson plus 2018 first-round draft pick. That's what the Phoenix Suns could offer that the Cavs would accept for Kyrie Irving. Reports are the Cavs would jump all over that deal. But the hiccup in the deal right now is apparently the Suns, that deal's not for them. They're not interested. Specifically, they're not interested in including Josh Jackson in any deal for Kyrie Irving. Josh Jackson is the deal killer. You're the Suns, Rudy? You do that deal?
I do that deal for anyone not named Devin Booker. You have no idea. I know you love Josh Jackson, but you have no idea what you have in Josh Jackson.
I'm with you.
You trade him for Kyrie Irving.
I'm with you, actually. There's not many. Okay, so that deal, first of all, the Suns win that deal. I don't think that trade leaves. If the Cleveland Cavaliers do that deal, and it may be the best deal they have available to them to trade Kyrie Irving, they're no longer, in my mind, the Eastern Conference favorites. The Boston Celtics are. I don't think Eric Bledsoe, 21 points, 6 assists a game, better defender than Kyrie Irving, plus rookie Josh Jackson, nets you positive losing Kyrie Irving. I don't think LeBron plus Bledsoe plus Love plus Josh Jackson it's definitely not better than they are with Kyrie, and I think it's enough of a diminished team that the Boston Celtics, having added Jason Tatum and Gordon Hayward, surpass them as the favorites in the East. I just don't see how you... Boston was the number 1 seed in the East. Yeah, the conference finals wasn't that close, but one team's getting worse and one team's getting better. And I would say markedly on both fronts. The Boston Celtics are getting markedly better, adding Gordon Hayward. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, losing Kyrie Irving, are getting markedly worse. Still, it may be the best deal available to them out there. And the Phoenix Suns, I agree with you 100%, Rudy. They don't know what they have in Josh Jackson. I liked him coming out of Kansas. I thought he was kind of like a Swiss Army knife player who could do a little bit of everything. Somebody maybe, potentially, in the Kawhi Leonard mode, but he can't shoot, as you pointed out, like Kawhi Leonard. But Kawhi Leonard couldn't shoot like Kawhi Leonard either right away.
Most people improve shooting when they get to the NBA, yes, Will.
Most.
Kawhi is the exception to the rule. Like that. No, he's not what you should just say. Hey, Josh Jackson could turn into Kawhi.
That's right. That's right. No, that's right. That's right. And that's why. So I'm with you. If I'm Phoenix in the end, I do this deal.
But there's no deal that the Cavs can make where they win.
No, there's no deal. I mean, the one deal I think that's out there for the Cavaliers to win is the one that somehow is controversial with everyone. That if somehow they pulled off that rumored deal from a week ago, Isaiah Thomas plus Jay Crowder or Jaylen Brown plus a first-round pick to Boston, the Cavs would win that deal because it would diminish Boston specifically. I think while it's a close call, if I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I want Isaiah Thomas more than Kyrie Irving. And I definitely want Isaiah Thomas plus Jay Crowder plus a pick more than Kyrie Irving. That's the one deal out there for Cleveland to win. But I mean, if I'm Boston, I'll laugh that deal away. All right. Speaking of laughing at someone, by the way, we can't play this, right? Shaq's diss track. We have no rights to play Shaq's diss track. So this is like already, this is music he has recorded and has rights to, and he's selling.
It's actually a Jay-Z beat he used over it. Which is part of the reason why we can't use it.
Oh, that's the problem?
Yes.
Oh. And he dissed LaVar Ball from start to finish. So this is I wish we could play that so bad. I'm telling you, I've been telling you all so long, you have to take LaVar Ball seriously. Look at Shaq. He's taking him seriously. We can't do this thing where we're like, don't talk about him. You're giving him attention. You're the problem. You keep talking about LaVar Ball. You're making it the issue. No. I'm telling you. Read ESPNs.com this week. There was an article up, I think it's by Myron Metcalf, talking about how young kids are worshiping LaVar Ball. You go to one of these AAU games, and there's 13, 14, 12-year-olds flocking around LaVar Ball like he is some kind of Cristiano Ronaldo type figure. You've seen those videos when Ronaldo or Messi walk into the city streets of China or Spain and crowds just gather around them. That's what these AAU games look like for LaVar Ball. This guy is already a big deal. Stop talking about us making him a big deal. He already is independent of any of us. The only thing left to do is call it the way it is and call it out for what he is and that he's a fraud and he's a fake and he's not tough. He's actually plays victim. Like he told Keyshawn, George, and LZ on ESPN 710 LA. This is how a real man acts.
Of course I'm being unfairly targeted, but it's okay. Why wouldn't I be? They say I got a big mouth anyway. They say we bad as heck. Of course you want to try to quiet me up. That's the way I've been coaching all the time. It's just entertainment. Instead of going to the movies, people are coming to the AAU game to watch the game.
He's being targeted. Even on the court, where he's being cheated.
Y'all playing your hearts out here, and they calling all that bull that needs to stop him. Like I said, hell of a job. Y'all been playing hard as hell. And all they doing is cheating out there. I ain't going to have this.
I'm telling you, you got to take this seriously. You got to call it out because I think he could emerge as the most powerful man in basketball over the next several years.